Good evening and welcome. You're watching The Buck Stops Here and we are continuing with our special coverage from Gujarat. Tonight we're coming to you live from Ahmedabad's Gujarat Vidyapeeth. Before I introduce our panel this evening, we'll, as every night, bring you our special ground reports. Today, on a day when Congress General Secretary Rahul Gandhi was in Narendra Modi's home turf of Gujarat, we look at the Congress campaign. It's an interesting campaign because it's very different from the Congress campaign in 2007. Although the media wants to fantasize about a Narendra Modi versus Rahul Gandhi clash in 2014, the fact is that it's not a Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi clash, at least here in Gujarat. The Congress posters, most of them, have no names and no faces. It seems to be a strategic decision, as is the decision, as we saw in Rahul Gandhi's speech today, to avert a direct conflict with Narendra Modi. Is this a strategy that's working, or is it a messaging that's far too obtuse? We looked at the anatomy of an election poster, both the Congress and the BJP's.
गुजरात की जनता कुछ नहीं कर रही, गुजरात का युवा कुछ नहीं कर रहा, गुजरात की महिला कुछ नहीं कर रही, एक व्यक्ति आपको आगे ले जा रहा है, ये आपको बताया जा रहा है, ये मार्केटिंग है।
जो हम शक्ति जोड़ रहे हैं, कुछ लेने पाने बनने के लिए नहीं, हम शक्ति को जुटा रहे हैं, गुजरात की अधिक अच्छी सेवा करने।
Journalists and political pundits would like to believe that this is the image that will define 2014. They think that the battle for Gujarat will throw up the generals for the war that may now be just a little over a year away. Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi makes for a catchy headline. And yet come to Gujarat and you may be surprised to discover that the story is not that simple. The state Congress's campaign, for a start, is by choice an elaborate strategy, both nameless and faceless. Take a closer look at the election posters of both the Congress and the BJP and you will clearly see the distinct and contentious approach of both campaigns. In the BJP's case, the cult of Modi is supreme. Unlike in 2007 when the Chief Minister's rallies were a surreal sea of many Modis, in 2012 the campaign is relatively more mellow. But there's no disputing that the man remains the message, leading many to ask whether the Chief Minister is now bigger than his party. The Congress hoardings are a study in sharp contrast. Not just is there no Rahul Gandhi on these posters to play challenger to Modi, there is no Manmohan Singh or Sonia Gandhi either. The decision seems tactical. In an election widely predicted to go the Chief Minister's way, and given that the Congress has failed to hone in on a candidate of its own for the top job, the campaign is steering clear of drawing any high-profile battle lines. The jeers from the BJP have been swift. If Rahul Gandhi is coy about taking on Narendra Modi in Gujarat, how can he do so on the national stage, if necessary, it asks.
This is the first campaign in the history of the Indian National Congress that I have seen, where even the Gandhi family has disappeared. Today, you don't find a single poster of the photograph of the Prime Minister or the Gandhi family leaders on Congress's ad campaigns. Instead, you are using some brand ambassadors. Now, I can understand shampoos and soaps being sold by cricketers or some emerging film stars as brand ambassadors. But political ideologies, governmental programs, political parties have to be marketed to the people through its leaders.
You don't think it's tactical to not make it about a Modi versus X fight, and therefore when Modi wins, not to make it about X's defeat?
The moment you do it, you concede that neither in Gandhinagar nor in Delhi we have a face of Modi's stature.
सच्चाई ये है कि आज गुजरात की सरकार चलाने वाले झूठे बेईमानी, डर और मौत के सौदागर हैं।
Remember 2007 when Sonia Gandhi centered her campaign around the 2002 riots and controversially called Narendra Modi a merchant of death. Narendra Modi then had taunted her by calling her an Italian bahu.
इटली की भाषा के इंटरप्रेटर की व्यवस्था कर देंगे, लेकिन आओ तो कुछ तो बोलो.
There's none of that in 2012. Other than some isolated remarks, the Congress especially has focused on local developmental issues and avoided more or less talking about the riots. It's aware perhaps that this narrative in earlier elections only helped Narendra Modi script a victory. Even Modi's critics are apprehensive about the Congress strategy. They say the party is now carrying the baggage of its own history.
Congress really doesn't have a particular person to project. You see, the Congress always was ruling from center. So from center, the leader was the charismatic leader. So the charismatic leader of the center actually came with in the state elections. So that image carried. Then the state imageries faded into background, national person's image came forward.
The omnipresence of Modi is inescapable in Gujarat. In the land of Sardar Patel and Mahatma Gandhi, it is the gleaming gaze of a chief minister who believes he's headed for a third term and then possibly a shift to Delhi that dominates the urban landscape. And on Modi's turf, 24 hours after the Congress officially announced that he would be the chief architect of its mission 2014, Rahul Gandhi chose to invoke the Mahatma rather than getting into a political slugfest with a man some say will be his national competition.
अगर मेरा राजनीति में कोई गुरु है तो वो गांधी जी हैं। गांधी जी की विचारधारा गुजरात की विचारधारा है। लोकतंत्र है देश में, आपका काम है, आपकी सोच, आपका देन।
Scarred by the polarization that any direct attack on Narendra Modi has created in the past in Gujarat, the Congress has rearranged its pieces on the political chessboard of the state. But many of their well-wishers also worry that the messaging is now far too obtuse.
I think the best face they should have had on their posters is number one, Pandit Nehru, who was a real man of the people, of development, of secularism, socialism. I just think that the Congress needs to get its strategy and its execution of strategy right.
The Congress argues that the electoral dynamics of Gujarat are not the same as those of India, and that too much is being read into their tactical moves on the battlefield. Hitting back at the BJP, the Congress says, if the party is indeed so keen on Modi, why such diffidence about announcing him as the prime ministerial candidate?
Everybody in Bharatiya Janata Party is eager to become prime minister of the country. I think at least 12 candidates are there in Bharatiya Janata Party. They have not yet announced who will be their candidate for prime ministership.
Who rules Delhi may well be a different story altogether, but Gujarat is certainly a reminder for Rahul Gandhi's party that at least in this state, his party is still in search of a leader. Gujarat in 2012 is very different from Gujarat in 2007 and certainly Gujarat in 2002. In fact, the electricity that comes from the volatility of ideological clashes is distinctly missing in this campaign. The Congress strategy to avert a direct confrontation with Narendra Modi is especially interesting and some would say ironic, given that many headline writers are dreaming up a Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi fight. Gujarat in 2012 is perhaps a reminder that on the chessboard of electoral politics, the opening gambit of both parties, the Congress and the BJP, may well be very different from what the media imagines. In Ahmedabad, with Manoj Thakur and Ruby Dhingra, Barkha Dutt for NDTV.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.